The NIX, written by Apollo Stark, narrated by Apollo Stark, and illustrated by Sarah Tuck. In the faraway land of What-a-Do, the beaches are golden and the sky is blue. Days go ah, and nights go ooh, and flowers bloom in every hue, whilst every creature trills and coos in the lovable land of What-a-Do. The rednecks live there happily, fishing the land and farming the sea, merrily singing a chirpy song for as long as any day is long, to the tonk of a horn and tink of a gong as the sun went up and down. Wee wiggly woo, wee wiggly wee, ho and so and mo with me. Let's pull plump fishy wish from the sea with a giggly woo and a jiggly wee. They sang their warbly tune. The rednecks like things a certain way, no more, no less, and hated change. Things had to be quite tickety-boo. Any other way just would not do. It would not do one little bit, not a smidgen, a tad, or even a nip. So, one day when a ship approached their shore, it caused a clamour and a huge uproar. Look off our land, there's a green NIX ship. This will not do, we can't have this. The ship they spied headed for their bay, and they heard loud shouts as it sailed their way. Hooray, hooray, the green NIX cried. Land ahoy, what a joy, no more stormy skies. Drop sails, weigh anchor, let's go ashore. Here is the land we're looking for. All hustle and bustle causing quite a kerfuffle. Off their ship the green NIX shuffled. They waved and smiled, and being only a few, hoped to be welcomed on What-a-Do. But the rednecks waiting on the beach were quite unhappy and stomped their feet. We are the rednecks and we live here. This is our land and we love it dear. We don't want you here. Just go away. Get back on your ship and leave today, they hollered with one voice. But we have sailed such horrible seas, under thunderbang skies with collywobble knees. We've suffered through hail and braved dark rains. We're weary, feel dreary, and are in pain, the greens sobbed woefully. The reds would not listen to the green NIX pleas, and refused to consider their wants and needs. We don't care one jot, not the slightest bit, not a snip or a drop or a tiny drip. We don't care a damn or give a fig. We don't care a monkey's or a flying pig for a word you have to say. The greens were shocked and quite upset. They turned their back upon the reds. They would not spend more time at sea. They would not be bullied. They would not leave. They would not listen or be shooed away, despite all the rednecks had to say. Many moons passed. The greens worked hard. The reds watched them and made rude remarks. That's not the way. You're doing it wrong. You don't sing to the horn or the coppery gong, and the seeds you've planted are looking sad, but we won't help if it all turns bad. Give up and leave our land. Just let us be, the greens replied. We may look different on the outside, but really we're the same as you, and we're happy here on What-a-Do. Our crops are different, but they grow strong. Our methods aren't yours, but they're not wrong. We have 56 bottles of rosy cheeks that'll make you giggle and your knees go weak. Come share with us a drink or two. Get to know us and end this sad to-do. Get to know you? Not in a bazillion years. Have you got cotton wool in your ears? Are you deaf? Are you dumb? Don't you hear what we say? We will not mix with you to talk or play for a single night, let alone a day. Let us go our separate paths. Well, that is how it came to be. The Reds were quite unneighbourly. Sun up, sun down, around and around the seasons came and went. They stubbornly refused to talk, to wave or whistle or take a walk with one who was not of their own, thinking it better to be alone than mix with the other sort. Then one night a flash, a crash, a roar, the sky rumbling boom of a massive storm that shook the ground and shattered trees, which put the Reds down on their knees. "Batten the hatches!" the Greens all cried, as the Reds ran for a place to hide. "We've sailed through worse torrible zones, and won't let this storm drive us from our homes," the Greens said unafraid. The morning came. The storm was gone. The Reds were wailing on and on and on and on and on they wailed, for their homes were ruined and their crops had failed, smashed and bashed by heavy gales, and they didn't know what to do. The Green NIX homes were still intact. The crops in their barns all neatly stacked. They declared aloud, "How clever we are to have stored our grain in crockery jars, to have built our homes with silvery sand, and tamed the ground of this wonderful land the Reds call what a do." Out in the woods that very day, two young NIX met and began to play. One was red and the other was green. But colour means nothing if you're friendly, not mean. They shared their sweets, they played, they laughed, and considered their elders to be quite daft. "What twonks, what nits, what absolute twits, with their grumpy tones and puffy chest bits. We should tell them straight how silly they're being. They should be friends instead of mean," the young NIX both agreed. Despite the trouble the Reds were in, they refused to ask for help. And pride just causes problems when one can't help oneself. They truly felt embarrassed, for they had mocked the Greens. They had tried to move them on, to crush their hopes and dreams. So they wallowed in the mud, feeling sorry, feeling sad, too proud to do the right thing, though their problems were so bad. The Greens thanked their fine fortune. Luck had gone their way. Their houses stood, their crops were good, and it was a new day. They watched the Red NIX brooding and wondered what to do, for it's hard to offer friendship to one who's rude to you. The sun rolled by to the edge of the sky, and the woods grew dark and cold. The young Green said, "It's time for tea, the day is growing old." The young Red sobbed, "When I go home, there's nothing left to eat. Our food is gone, and the lights are long when one is so hungry." The Green NIX replied, "Come home with me, we will make a jumbly stew. There's no need for any hunger when I can cook for you. We have herbs and spices, some hot and some sweet. I'm sure that when you try them, you'll enjoy the tasty treat. My folks are kind and friendly. There's no need for feeling scared. Come home, come home, come home with me. That is if you dare." The other said, "A dare? I do. I will come home with you. I will come home with you to cook, though my folks will give us horrible looks when they see that we are friends. They won't be happy, their pride is sore. They don't like folks from foreign shores, from any land not of their own. They don't like change and have never roamed across the briny sea." It caused a flap, it caused a stir, it caused a big uproar. A red NIX mixing with the greens? How totally uncalled for! What was their young one thinking, mixing with that lot? It was most unthinkable, and put them on the spot. The red NIX could not believe their eyes. The greens didn't seem to care. They had taken in a red and treated him like theirs. The green NIX called out to them, "Don't stand there slack-jawed staring. We have dinner on the go. You should see how it is faring. Join us for a nosh-up. We've more than you could scoff. We don't hold grudges and we won't bite. New friends is all we want." "You should see your faces," the young green said, poking fun. "How miserable you all look, but that can be undone. You should try our jumbly stew. It is rather neat. It's made with biggest top hat shrooms and finest filagut meat. You will like it, of that I'm sure. Try a spoon or two and you'll want more. You will want more, and there's plenty to share. We are nice and more than fair, despite how you are being." For all the pennies in Queendom come, the Reds could not decide. But food that smelled so delish was begging to be tried. The eldest Red stepped forward, thinking to settle the matter. "I will try this stew of yours and put pay to idle chatter." And so he tried a spoon or 4 or 5 or 6 and then some more, and found it impossible to deny the stew was the best he had ever tried. It made him smile, a cheesy grin, though the stew had not had cheese put in. "I like it, I do, I like it a lot. I love jumbly stew straight from the pot," the elder Red enthused. "It's the tastiest taste I've ever tasted. Too tasty to let a bite be wasted. Come get a bowl or 6 or 3. Come on, come join the greens. To do no less would be quite rude. To turn our backs on such fine food would be a terrible waste." The Reds approached, one by one, and then by twos, and then by some, to dine upon the jumbly stew, and washed it down with a glass or few of cheery rosy cheeks. They giggled, they laughed, and feeling quite daft, found the urge to speak. "We Reds have been so foolish to turn our backs on you, for you have shown us kindness whilst we've been harsh and crude." That night, once they had eaten, on the island of What-a-Do, the Reds taught the Greens their warbly song to the tonk of a horn and tink of a gong, and realised they were both rash and wrong to judge the Greens so hard.